U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement says it made more than 2,000 arrests during a 6-week nationwide operation. That's the agency's largest sweep during the pandemic. It took place in July and August and focused on those with criminal convictions and charges. However, as CBS News reports, this also led to the arrests of some undocumented immigrants with clean records. It was the result of what's known as at-large arrests taking place in residences, work sites, and traffic stops across the country. For more on this, let's bring in CBS News immigration reporter Camilo Montoya-Galvez. Hi there, Camilo. What was the scope of this ICE operation and who was the agency targeting?
Hi, Elaine. This operation in July and August lasted nearly 6 weeks, and it is the largest one, as you mentioned, announced by ICE during the coronavirus pandemic. Agents from all of the agencies' field offices across the country participated and made more than 2,000 so-called at-large arrests, which take place in homes, workplaces, traffic stops, like you mentioned. And the agency said it specifically targeted undocumented immigrants and others who are subject to deportation, who have some type of criminal conviction or charge related to crimes where a victim is involved. The agency said that roughly 85% of those it arrested as part of this operation have criminal charges or convictions, and the agency said the rest are undocumented immigrants who have some type of civil immigration violations. These include immigrants who were ordered deported by a judge, for example, but remained in the U.S., others who re-entered the U.S. after being previously deported, as well as those who were picked up as part of so-called collateral arrest, Elaine, which is when ICE apprehends individuals it was not targeting during an operation, but who it found were unlawfully present in the U.S. at the time of the enforcement action at a place like a home or a work setting.
Well, Camilo, you mentioned in your piece that some of those arrested had clean records. How does that line up with ICE's own policies?
That's a very important question, Elaine, because in March, ICE announced a new, quote, enforcement posture in response to the still developing coronavirus pandemic at that point in the spring. It said its agents would focus on immigrants who may pose a threat to the public and those with certain criminal convictions, sort of returning to Obama-era policies that restricted the populations that ICE could apprehend and deport. And I asked the top ICE official who oversees detention and deportations today, Henry Lucero, about this and whether the arrest of these people who have no criminal charges or convictions conforms to this enforcement posture. And he very explicitly said that that announcement in March did not mean that the agency was not going to arrest undocumented immigrants who have civil immigration violations. He said his agents have wide-ranging discretion, but that undocumented immigrants with no criminal records are still subject to enforcement.
Well, Camilo, ICE has been facing strong criticism over the spread of the coronavirus inside its detention facilities. How many immigrants have tested positive, and what does the current situation look like for people who are detained during this pandemic?
Yes. Since the spring, the coronavirus has been rapidly spreading throughout the ICE detention system, which is actually the largest immigration detention system in the entire world. More than 5,300 immigrants have tested positive for the coronavirus while in ICE detention so far, and at least 6 detainees have died after contracting the virus while in ICE detention. Immigrant advocates have been very concerned about the ways in which ICE has responded to the pandemic, saying the agency needs to do more to protect detainees, including by releasing many more detainees than they have already released, including asylum seekers who have established credible fear of being persecuted or tortured in their home countries. ICE, on the other hand, says that it has done everything it can to protect staff and detainees at its detention facilities, that it is reviewing the medical records of detainees to assess whether they can be released if they don't pose a threat to the public or a flight risk, and that it is offering testing to detainees, and that the detention population has dropped quite dramatically, in fact, since March, from about 38,000 detainees to less than 22,000 detainees currently. So that is the status of the coronavirus in ICE detention. It continues to grow, but ICE says it is doing everything it can to protect the folks it is detaining.
Well, ICE has become a focal point of the nation's immigration debate, with some Democrats calling for it to be abolished. What is the Trump administration's relationship with ICE right now?
Yeah, I think that's a great point, because in addition to the pandemic, the economic downturn, and these protests that we're seeing over decades of racial inequities in the U.S., I think immigration will still be an important issue come November, and ICE will be a part of that conversation. During the Trump administration, ICE has been given wide discretion to detain and apprehend anyone who does not have legal status in this country, departing from Obama-era policies that instructed agents to generally target those with criminal convictions, recent border crossers, and those who re-enter the U.S. after being deported. And so that will continue to be an important issue for President Trump and his campaign, and he will continue to tout the enforcement actions taken by ICE and the policies he has instituted. And if Joe Biden is triumphant in November, I think the role of ICE will be sort of a thorny issue for him, because many immigrant advocates and some Democrats will call for major reforms of the agencies. And I don't think, for example, returning to Obama-era policies in terms of arrests and deportations will be sufficient for some of these advocates. And issues like the role of family immigration detention will come up should that exists. There's already ample research that is detrimental to children. And so I think there will be a lot of pressure for a Biden administration to quickly roll back all this power that ICE agents have been given during the Trump administration.
Yeah, there really have been some major changes to immigration policy under the Trump administration. Camilo Montoya-Galvez, thank you so much for sharing your reporting with us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Elaine.